Mets Musings is an unofficial, independent podcast covering New York's National League Baseball team. It is not affiliated in any way with Major League Baseball or the New York Mets.
Hi, this is Ron Darling. This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to Mets Musings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. Hope everybody had a good week out there. Not a heck of a lot to talk about, but let's talk about the Mets. Of course, the big news, as we reported here last week, was the trade for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco coming to the Mets. They met the public this week and the news and the media and had a press conference, and all is well. Lindor, of course, his contract is up at the end of the year, and Mets would like to try to sign him long term. He said he's interested in hearing, but will not negotiate during the season. Where have we heard that before? You hear that a lot. They all say that. They all say, I'd love to negotiate, but I don't want to negotiate during the season. We can do it before the season. Look, it's all a ploy. It's all try to get a quick contract or to not get a quick contract and get the free agency. So we'll see how all of this plays out over the course of the year. But if you go on you go on social media, that is if you're still allowed to, and you haven't been thrown off yet, you see a lot of people complaining about the trade, about the Mets, and it's kind of a mixed bag. And I get it, people are nervous, especially since the last trade, the Mets' big trade, that the Mets did with the Cleveland Indians to bring in Sandy Alomar. It's probably 30 years ago, close to it now. And everybody said, what a steal that was for the Mets. And, of course, it did not work out. Sandy Alomar Jr. was a bust here on his way to the Hall of Fame. Go figure. But was not a good player here. And, people get leery. But that's something that you got to take a chance with. I mean, it could happen. Lindor, Carrasco could be a complete bust here. Or they could be quite good. So, that's why you play the game, folks. That's why they pay these guys the big bucks. That's why we're not general managers and managers, because they know a little bit more than we know. It seems like Lindor seems like a happy-go-lucky, easy-going guy that's able to play. I don't think the New York crowds are going to get to him. I don't think that sort of thing. If we even have New York crowd. Oh, excuse me. Don't forget, we don't even know if they're going to let people into the stadium. We don't even know if they're going to play ball yet this year. That could be another thing that comes up. But as far as the trade goes, look, I hate to give up young talent, but you didn't exactly get two old, decrepit guys here, so seems like a good deal. If they could sign Lindor, it makes it a terrific trade. If they don't, kind of question it, And then where do they go next year for shortstop? They traded somebody they knew could play, and they traded two guys that they knew could play the position. They still have Luis Guillorme. Thankfully, he can be the backup, and if he hits like he hit last year, plays like he did last year, he also can play shortstop. Maybe they feel Maurizio will be ready in a year. Who knows? But it's a chance you take sometimes, and they took that chance, and they killed two birds with one stone. They filled the need at starting pitching. They really didn't have a need at shortstop, but look, when you can get a guy the caliber of Lindor, who's a switch hitter and an all-star and MVP candidate, then you make the move and you get him, and you let the chips fall where they may. Hopefully, we'll have a season this year, and we'll be able to see what he can do. And it's a full season, or as close to as full season as we can get, not a 60-game exhibition like we had last year. And, let's get back to the important stuff, as Steve Cohen said, and that's whether or not we should have the black jerseys. Yeah, bring back the black. You know what? People are going crazy on the social media about this as well. You either hate them or you love them. And I say, bring back the black jersey. Why not? He wants to bring back certain things. It looks like Old Timers Day will probably be coming back. I would imagine that Banner Day will be coming back. I'd like to see Camera Day come back, if they can even do that nowadays. Especially now, that may be something that's down the road because of the whole pandemic nonsense going on. But let's bring back Old Timers Day, and bring back the black jerseys and the black hats. Why not? Let's add it in there. They don't have to wear them all the time, but add them in there a little bit. Not every weekend either, because then if you watch on the weekend or only go to games on the weekend, you get tired of seeing it, especially if you don't like it. But mix it in there once in a while. Bring it in there. I like the blue jerseys too, so let's see them more often. And Steve Cohen put out a tweet. He's still out on Twitter about what other the things Met fans would like to see about Citi Field. And of course, the big thing that people are about is making Citi Field more Met-centric, and even heard reports about doing away with Jackie Robinson Rotunda. I don't think you're going to be able to get away with that one. I think that would set off a barnstorm of politicians be all over you. That would be a mess if you tried to do that. I think it could be redefined, though. Keep it as the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, but make it less prevalent. Move the 42 to a less prominent site. Maybe put in a 41 for Seaver. The statue, I think, is being built for Seaver. Maybe bring in more Mets gallery of pictures around. Maybe make the Hall of Fame more inviting to go to and more direct. It's if I remember correctly, it's kind of a little, it's off to the side, but it's right by the big um, Mets fan shop, so it can be a little, confusing, especially to older people. So maybe there's something you can do about that to direct people more there. Make that area behind the 42, I guess, more Met centric, and or maybe move the 42 back if that's a possibility, and not have it in such a prominent role. But it is the rotunda of Jackie Robinson, and I don't think it would be wise politically or to change the name. I think the Firestorm would be something that this new owner doesn't need at this particular point in time. And so, yeah, that's that. One other announcement, and then we'll take a break, and that is I am off Twitter. I have quit Twitter because of censorship reasons. And I'm not. I never liked Twitter anyway, to be honest with you. Maybe because I'm old, I always found it too quick for me. You couldn't follow a story. You'd see a quote, and it would be right out there, and then you couldn't see why it was made. And then somebody would say, "Oh, great story." You couldn't find. I couldn't. Let's put it that way. I couldn't. So I never really liked it anyway, so it's no big loss for me. I don't really care, but just so you know, if anybody was looking on Twitter, I am no longer there. All right, let's take a quick break and be back after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a PhD in life through baseball? Welcome to Baseball PhD, a tour company for your brain. 30 major league teams, 100 places to see. Let's touch them all as we make the road trip of a lifetime.
Check out my Twitter page at MetsMusings1 and check out a Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/MetsMusings. Go check it out and don't forget to call the hotline. It's 516-619-6341.
Okay, we're back, and as I said, there's not a lot of news going on. The Mets went to a viewing or a throwing session by Corey Kluber. They could be interested in signing him, the former Cy Young Award winner. They have interest in free agent center fielder Albert Amora, but you've got to wonder about that. They're still talking to George Springer, and apparently they put an offer in on Marcell Ozuna. I personally don't understand that one. Ozuna, whose defense has really gone south and has not played well defensively, and last year was primarily a DH. We don't know if there's going to be a DH this year unless the Mets have inside knowledge. Maybe baseball knows. There's been no formal announcement that the DH is going to be allowed again in the National League. But even so, I think even if the DH is allowed, the Mets are set with Alonso and Dom Smith, and don't see why they would need somebody else to fill that position. But as I said, they're talking to Marcell Ozuna, or they apparently made an offer on Marcell Ozuna. They have interest in free agent center fielder Albert Almora. And in the middle of this, MLB comes out and ranks Brandon Nimmo as one of the 5 best center fielders in Major League Baseball. So Met fans are not crazy about Nimmo playing center field, but here he comes out in the rankings, and he's ranked behind Mike Trout, Cody Bellinger, George Springer, and Alex Verdugo. And the guys after him are essentially Kyle Lewis, Ramon Laureano, Trent Grisham, Starling Marte, and Byron Buxton. So he's right in the middle of the top 10, number 5. And, sometimes we forget about it. Nimmo has been one of the most productive outfielders in baseball since 2018. He struggled in 2019, but remember, he had an injury. He was hurt in spring training. What did he have that year? Was that he had some sort of illness, I believe, and never got really going. Then he hurt his shoulder or whatever it was. And last year he hit 280 in 55 games. We know he's good at getting on base. And the guy's a good player. I don't know why he gets knocked so often from Met fans. But, Met fans are never happy. I mean, again, social media. Look at social media. They're not happy with the Mets, with Cohen. They're starting to compare him to the Wilpons already. Come on. The guy's in a couple of months. They've already signed Trevor May, McCann to a contract, traded for Lindor and Carrasco. I don't know what else you folks want. I really don't. I don't know what you want out there. You gotta play. You gotta get the guys you think. You're not gonna get everybody. They're not gonna spend money and bring in Trevor Bauer and Springer and Real Muto and everybody out there. They made a move. They got a catcher who they think is going to be good for them. They made a move, made a big trade, and brought in a young shortstop and a starting pitcher and a good starting pitcher. We're not talking about, some slouch here. They're looking at others. They're looking at other options. And they're looking a little bit lower price. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But people get panicky. People, I don't know. And Met fans never used to be this way. I think it's probably the younger generation of Met fans. Everybody wants to win right now. I can't tell you how many years of losing we suffered through. And it makes the winning all that much better. But, just relax. Let them do their job and see what happens. You've already seen the difference between Cohen and the Wilpons. Alderson's even spoke about it. How much easier it is to go and get a guy like a Lindor. That he can go and get somebody with that kind of, that's looking for that kind of money, where he couldn't in the past. So, just chill a little bit. Just, calm down. All right, and the Mets have signed utility player Jose Martinez to a split contract that will pay him $1 million with $500,000 in incentives if he makes the Major League roster. He'd make just $225,000 if he were to remain in AAA all season. The team announced the move on Thursday afternoon, just hours ago, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Martinez, who typically plays first base, outfield, or designated hitter, had stints with the Tampa Bay Rays and Chicago Cubs last season after starting with his career with the St. Louis Cardinals. In 432 career games, Martinez has slashed .289, .356, .447, whatever that means, to go with 43 home runs and 182 RBI. And those who understand what that means, you'll know what it means. I don't know what the slashes are. I go by the .289. That was his batting average, I guess. First one is usually batting average, so I'll go by that. Rob Manfred said earlier this week that spring training is set to begin on time in February. Told everybody to prepare for a 162-game season, yet did not say whether there'll be a DH in the National League, but they're still negotiating that. Let's see. Let's look through the news here. Is there anything else? We mentioned about Corey Kluber. Corey Kluber would be a nice pickup. Jake Odorizzi would be a nice pickup. I think they could use a lefty. I'd consider a lefty, going after a lefty like Paxton, but we'll see. You know, now we're getting into a little bit more competition. And still, the top free agents have not gone. We're almost halfway through January already, and no top free agents other than McCann has signed. And when I say top, I mean, Springer, Realmuto, or Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer apparently is looking for a year. Mets are we're talking to Brad Hand, I believe, and he wants 2 years. They want to offer him a year contract, left-handed reliever. So we'll see if there's any progress along those lines. But that's about it. I mean, there's not much going on now. It's been pretty quiet. If you follow slowly, you'll find it. And but I just wanted to do a show, give you my take on the world of the Mets, and that's what I got. So I think we'll leave it there. We'll wrap it up for this week's show. I want to thank you all for listening and watching, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Castbox, YouTube, and check out Rumble. We are trying to go on Rumble, so if you're associated with Rumble already, see if you can find a podcast on Rumble. It's only just the last episode was uploaded. This will be uploaded as well to them, and so go check that out. But wherever you listen or watch the podcast, please hit the subscribe button. It helps me grow the community and expand the show to new listeners, so it's very important. So until next time, remember, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings. Good night, everybody.